So what led you to investigate the issue of housing and property rights in the first place?
Well, as you mentioned in the intro there, certainly house prices have been a major issue in the past year or two, and going back much farther in Vancouver and Toronto, the really big housing markets in the country. And people have been complaining house prices seem to be getting out of reach for many families, and the solutions pitched are always things like foreign investor tax or a house vacancy tax or special programs or subsidies or changes to mortgage standards, et cetera, all of which, as we've seen over the past couple of years, certainly haven't worked at all. The house prices are going up even faster now. So given that this is essentially a market problem of supply and demand, there isn't enough supply to meet demand, it made sense to me that there's going to be a market solution to it, and that brings you around to property rights.
And your article is pointing to municipal zoning laws as the main issue in housing affordability. So can you unpack that for our viewers?
Certainly, if you talk to anyone in the housing industry, developers, et cetera, people in the construction industry, um, uh, the layers and layers of approvals, of consultations and studies and red tape and development charges, et cetera, that come out of the municipal level of government are really the blockages in terms of unleashing a lot of new housing supply. In Ontario, we've seen the Ontario Housing Affordability Task Force take on this issue of how can we solve the house price crisis, and the uh, the main conclusion from that report is that municipal rules are the big problem, and that the solution is to clear away a lot of these issues. The task force itself sets the goal of building 1.5 million new homes in Ontario by the end of the decade. So to do that, you're going to have to really speed up the everything to do with getting new houses built, and that's approvals and studies and that whole range of things. So that's where the problem really lies, the blockage.
And your article is saying Ontario is discussing an as of right concept. So can you tell our viewers a little bit more about this concept and how it would be impacting the housing supply crisis?
Right. Well, the task force's centerpiece recommendation, I would argue, is as you said, as of right zoning. As of right means that you would remove a lot of the current zoning rules around residential houses throughout the entire province. The report recommends that anyone who owns a single family home right now would have the right, without having to go to their local city council and ask for zoning changes or whatever, would have the right to do almost whatever they want with that house. They could put a granny flat in the back. They could put a basement suite in the basement. They could turn it into a duplex. They could even tear it down and put up a fourplex up to 4 stories high on their land without their neighbors being able to complain, without city council putting rules on it. You're essentially unleashing the power of homeowners to do whatever they want with their property within certain reasons, right? I mean, it puts a 4 story limit on it, but really empowering homeowners to create new housing supply. And I think that's a pretty exciting idea.
Exciting idea indeed, sir. Now, on the other hand, do you think this concept might infringe or limit the autonomy of local governments?
Well, certainly you're going to get a lot of pushback from it. Because you're taking away the ability of municipal politicians to say what can happen in their jurisdiction. You would also be limiting the NIMBY community groups who don't like change.
Mhm.
But there's another way of looking at this, and instead of taking away local control, we're actually giving more local control. We are giving control to the homeowners themselves
Right.
rather than to the municipal government directly above them.